Real quick, I want to throw this. I want to throw this out there. Pretty much everything we've watched so far,
Mhm.
has had a sort of like constant sense, like Beastar sense of struggle, Psychopath sense of struggle,
Yep.
Akira sense of struggle, Your
Yep.
Name, Weathering with You, Silent Voice. I'm starting to forget some of the ones, but I feel like
Toradora.
all Toradora sense of struggle. Everything has been like this. Um, sense something to overcome,
And
and
then this,
that's
we're
kind
trying to find a record.
of.
Hello, fellow weebs and otakus. Welcome to another episode of Anime Fix. We're your fix for all things anime. I'm Chase.
Lance.
That was a struggle to actually say that. I didn't think I could do it. I thought you were gonna have to say it for me. Oh man.
How you feeling?
Uh, well, we talked about this before, but I didn't know if I should just wait to actually talk about it until we start recording. But I went to bed drunk, and I think I woke up. I think I woke up drunk. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I did. like when I woke up, I was dizzy and like I couldn't walk straight. But like I don't know. I think I could think straight. I don't know. Like it's a weird feeling. I don't know. I don't even know what time I went to bed or like how I got to bed. I don't remember that.
Your wife texted me.
Yeah,
I was long asleep.
you
Your
were.
wife texted me at almost 2 saying how you're not going to be up. You fell asleep without watching.
Oh, well, that's great.
So I've known since 6 because
That
that's when I woke up that you weren't going to be up.
you knew Death Note was gonna be the winner. Well, I totally forgot about the party, and
What does
as
that have
soon
to do with anything? I was
as
there.
bro, as soon as I remembered the party, I was like, well, I gotta get through Death Note. That's what I felt like. Oh man, how you feeling? You feeling good?
Yeah, I feel fine.
Well, that
Woke
makes
up
one
at
of us.
6.
That
Woke
makes
up at
one of us.
6. Read a little bit from the Garden of Words. Arrived this
Oh,
week, and I started reading that. And I, so it's a light novel, it wasn't a manga. Why Barnes and Noble decided to list it as a manga on their website is a surprise, but whatever.
physical copies.
Um, yeah, but I love it. The first, like, I think I'm about 30 pages in. I think 30 or 40 pages in, and it shows so much. We've gotten to the point we were in the movie where the two characters met in the park, but before they give a huge backstory into the boy character, the guy character, and then they meet, and then we do a flashback into Yuki's backstory. So we're getting
Oh,
this whole like history that kind of things that influenced who they were at the point of that film being, or the timeline in the story in the film.
you like that better? You like the film better so far?
So I definitely like the film. I think I see this as more like a supplement to the
Oh,
film
okay. Really?
versus as so far. I'm only like 30 pages in. So, but from what I've read so far, I feel like it's a good supplement to the story. Not almost like you should watch the film and then read the book. But that could change by the time I get to the end. I could prefer the book to the film. I'm not. I don't always think that the book is better than the movie
Yeah.
because the movie they're two different mediums. It's hard to compare them because one is a very like word like sort of imaginative, like like you're reading the words on the page and they're describing details, but you're sort of taking what you're reading and converting it in your imagination to sort of create the visual yourself.
Hmm.
Whereas the film is doing it for you. Now, some people don't, that's not to say that it's always the you could say that they're different. Sometimes the book is legitimately better than a film, but I kind of like the film so far because the filmmaker and the author are the same person. So it's
Oh.
like you're getting in both situations you're getting his perspective, but in the film you're getting how he imagines it. Like he wrote the words on the page, but you're getting how he imagines it would look in the film, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Is this your first light novel that you're reading? Like Japanese light novel, or like, that kind of, does it read differently than American novels? Or do you feel like it's different, or it's pretty much the same?
Um, so far I feel like it's pretty much the same. I think maybe I haven't read for pleasure in a long time, so but maybe how they break up. So, like in a traditional novel, from what I remember is you have like chapters, right? Chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, and a lot is being told within that chapter. So far, it's like the way it's structured is there are chapters, but within those chapters there are sections, right? And they're
Oh.
they're they're blocked off. So like you have this section that's blocked off, and then there instantly will transition into something different. So
Oh.
like we started out in the present, and then goes to a flashback essentially for a few paragraphs. It comes back to the present, then we meet the other main character, and then we have a flashback for her, right? So it's
Mm.
kind of like flowing a little bit differently. But so far, it feels the same. Like I'm not even. It's not even the way it was published. It's left to right.
Really?
So it wasn't, and it wasn't even published like in the mangas I've read so far, where it's right to left. So
Oh, gotcha. I was curious. What are we talking about this week?
we are talking about words bubble up like soda pop.
That sounds like a haiku.
This is one of the characters writes haikus.
Does he? Gosh,
Yeah.
I probably
Super.
I probably should remember that when I watched it.
So I'll go ahead and say it now. I didn't dis. I was kind of about the film.
Really?
Which I mean, looked it up afterwards. It's got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Whoa, really? I didn't know
that's
that.
basically perfect according to them. But I I won't say it was bad because it wasn't. But I just didn't care.
Didn't
Like
care.
yeah, as I was watching it, I was like, I don't care about the characters. I don't care what's I don't. Oh, you're shy and you can't talk to the girl. Oh, you like attention and you stream for your hobby or whatever. Real bubbly. Like it's just I watched it and I was like I'm not invested in anything that's going on until about 30 minutes before the end. Then the girl, and we'll talk about it, but she does something that I knew was
Yeah.
going to happen,
I knew it was gonna
and
happen too, bro.
and I got pissed. I was
Why?
angry because
Well, okay. I
I was.
it was an accident.
Oh, of course it was an accident. It doesn't mean I can't be angry.
Okay.
I was like, this is gonna happen, and then that was the first time I paused the film, and I was like, I'm so upset right now because
At least you got some
how
emotions out of you.
and then I was just angry for like so it was like about 30 minutes before the end, and then I was angry. So that happened, and then I was angry for about 25 minutes. And my favorite part was the ending, but not because it was over, because our other main character, the boy, has that big scene at the top of the tower.
The big
I
moment, yeah.
really, yeah, I really like that. Just so my favorite scene in the movie just happened to be the end, but it wasn't yeah, but it wasn't because it was finally over. At least that's what I told Tori.
To be honest with you, I teared up at one junction in the movie, but that's probably because I was drunk. But
You just
no,
watched it this morning.
exactly. We had that first conversation
Yeah, that's
of
true.
I don't
That's
know if
true.
I'm still drunk or not. But it was the part where uh, I think he's talking about not wanting to forget. That was hard for me.
Yes, that I forgot about that. That was a very sweet moment.
Yeah.
I didn't tear up. Like I said, I was kind of just I
Yeah.
was uninvested. But I mean, he was a very he's a very interesting character. I thought he was kind of absent-minded at
Oh yeah, of course.
the um
Oh, you mean the
oh
beginning?
at the beginning.
Oh, at the beginning. Okay. Like he's just looking for a random like record.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, and that was the other thing that annoyed me. Where the record was hidden or where it was. I don't know anyone who would have done that. I have bought records myself. I know plenty of people who have definitely take better care of their records for sure. I'm not the greatest at that, but I don't know anyone who would turn it into a clock. Like there are plenty of
Be
people I know who hang it on the wall as decorative, right?
yeah.
You could still tell it was a record. There's no one who would just go, "Oh, I'm gonna hang this on the wall and turn it into a clock." It just sort of seemed weird to me. Like
Uh well, I think they because it was him and his wife that turned it into a clock and put it up there.
I didn't see that. Did we see that in
Yeah,
the?
remember there
Saw the
were
flashback where he took the. We see him taking the photo and then on the
yep,
beach
it
and.
happened during that. So like when they're back in the mall area cuz it used to be the record printing place and now it's a
Uh,
mall. So they took cuz that was her first record that they actually made together. So
mhm.
he took it out and put the clock thing in it and then hung it up.
Oh, I missed that. Then
Yeah.
I was just. Why did that happen? Why did you do that?
I
It's
don't
your
know.
own damn fault that you forgot where it was.
That's hilarious.
I'm salty. I'm salty because this was it was technically good. Corey said that I've been spoiled because
You have been spoiled.
we've watched such it's how'd she say it?
I should
Like
have shown you
imagine if
like awful animes first.
imagine she said imagine you have the greatest chef in the world and they make you this gourmet peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? And it's
Hmm.
just phenomenal. And somebody just makes you a regular peanut butter jelly sandwich, and you're just like, eh.
Yeah.
It's
Eh.
PB and J. It's I like it, but it's not gourmet.
It's not your name or
It's not
Weathering with You or Silent Voice
or Garden of
uh,
Words. I mean,
or
all
Garden
the yeah,
Words.
yeah.
Yeah, bro. To be honest with you, yeah. No, but I actually liked it. I didn't know how I'd feel about the art style from the trailer, but I actually liked the art style. It was really good.
Yeah, the art was definitely unique. Sort of like, did you get the feeling that they were trying to make each uh, artifact stand out on its own? That was the
Artifact.
vibe or not artifact, maybe like every model, like every piece, right? So a person, a tree, a
Oh yeah.
house, everything was sort of designed to stand out from everything else. So that way you could notice it. This is
Yeah.
being flushed into the background.
Yeah, I totally think so. Um so like explain to me more why you thought meh. I'm confused why you think it's meh. I thought it was really good. You
Like I
think
said, it
you
wasn't.
think you think it's the same story as like Your Name and like A Wedding with You, but not as good.
It just seemed very. I wouldn't even say your name, weathering with you. I'm thinking more along the lines of Toradora.
Toradora.
So like you got the shy boy who has a hard time connecting with people, and then you got the other girl who's super just out there and bubbly, and it's different. It's not the same. They're not. They're completely different characters. Not like it was a carbon copy.
Yeah,
It
but
seemed like that.
it's similar.
Yeah, like that story. Like it's okay. I know what's gonna happen. This boy is gonna open up over time, and the girl's gonna become more somber and like humble and all that stuff. And then eventually there's gonna be like this thing where they get separated, but then a moment brings them back together, and then he suddenly has the courage to.
Bro,
It's like a
that's total anime tropes though. Of course that's gonna happen.
yeah,
So
but
like
it could have been more exciting along the way. I could have been. It was just like
I think you're expecting like Jose and the Tigerfish like kind of vibes. So I feel like that's
we
gonna
haven't
be like I feel like that's gonna be money. That's what I think.
we haven't seen Jose and the Tiger
I know,
yet.
but I just think it's gonna be money. But
Yeah, so like
I don't know.
it's just kind of like it's like it was technically good. Like it wasn't. It's just I wasn't invested. Yeah, can I not just not be invested in like the characters? Like they like I
Well, this is the first one like that you said that I think, right? This is the first anime that you're like, I'm not that invested.
this is the first one I've outwardly I've said that.
Outwardly, I got it. I got what you're saying.
Yeah. There are some other ones. Like I'll definitely say this is on my if I were to say of all the ones we've watched so far, this one's on my bottom five. Now
Okay.
we haven't watched crap, right? So like it's still everything's good. It's just not as good
It can't
as
measure
like
up. So you think Toradora is better than this?
yeah.
I agree. So
Um and yeah, so yeah, my biggest gripe, if I were to call it a gripe, is I didn't have any emotional investment in anything that they were doing.
anything really,
I,
not finding the record.
you know, well, by
Why?
that point, because it's an hour and 30 minutes, and they didn't start that until like 45 minutes. Maybe if they had started that sooner and made
You're
that,
learning about the characters.
didn't,
They're really fleshed out characters, to be honest with you. To be honest, like they all, both have their own personalities. They're both insecure about something. Um,
yeah.
you know, I think they're pretty fleshed out, in my opinion. I don't know.
No, like I said, wasn't bad. It's just didn't care.
I just don't care. Don't care at all.
I was uninvested in their development. It didn't like. I don't want to crap on it because it's
No,
not bad.
good. No,
It's
no.
not a bad film.
We,
But
we got the Rotten Tomatoes one. And I'm trying to get Lance's perspective as well.
so like it's everything they were doing just seemed. It didn't seem like there was a sense of urgency or impact in the decisions they were making. They were just kind of
What do you mean?
floating. They were just kind of floating through their story, right? They were just existing. Yeah, they had obstacles, but there was no
Oh, so
sense
there's
of
no.
urgent.
Okay, so
There's no
like when you.
reason for them to overcome those obstacles. There's no sense of urgency, and there's no
Oh, I
sense of
gotcha.
urgency that the girl has to recognize that she's beautiful for who she is, and that the fact that she has a buck tooth does not uh, degrade her as a human. That was a big thing. She's super shy, has
Yep.
braces, wears a mask all the time, doesn't want anyone to know, outside of her family, obviously, because they know. But like, there was no like super big reason why she had to overcome that. There was no really big reason for him that forced him to overcome his shyness and his willingness to share his haiku in a public fashion
Until the end. Yeah.
until the very end, which is when, and that's why I said my favorite scene was at the very end, not because it was over, but because that's when he had this innate desire. Now, I don't feel like he had any sufficient motivation to overcome it, other than the record got found. He's like he wants to be there for when this man who he cared for several months I think, or a year at that point. Finally got to experience his long passed away wife, music that they created together, and so I think like that was cool seeing him like wanting to be there because it was he was so invested in that in his care that he's like I want to be there for that so we can experience it together. That was cool. Him
You're so
overcome
spoiled. You're so spoiled. So
him
like,
overcoming, but there was no like sufficient motivation. Like there was nothing driving him towards that end goal. We know that for the story to progress, they have to overcome those obstacles. But there wasn't a reason for them to overcome those obstacles. And I think that was why I was so uninvested because I wasn't watching them struggle. I wasn't watching them like reach for something that they know they need to do, but being just shot down because life sometimes just doesn't let you get there in a blink of an eye. Sometimes you have to work for things, and that didn't exist. There was no force to be reckoned with, and so that is why I was uninvested. Like it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad film. The animation was good. The story was good. The character development was good. Like everything about it was technically good, but the way it was implemented, the way that they moved forward, just I didn't care.
yeah. So like, why I say like you're spoiled, like because I agree with Tori on that is, if I think about like Your Name or like Whether With You or Garden of Words, even there's constant like urgency and constant like I have to go do this, I have to go do that, and like tension. So I think that's like, I think it has spoiled you a little bit. Because that's pretty much like, not pretty much the whole movie. Like there's slow moments in the movies, but like there's multiple intersections of urgency.
Yeah.
But yes, Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop. There's really no urgency at all. It's more of like a slice of life,
which
anime.
which is actually I looked it up because I was like, my friend Corey, who listens to the podcast, who's probably going to be a guest at some point. He's already got a couple recommendations for us, but he was asking me, what kind of genre it was, and I said romance. And he goes, just romance, and I said, well, let me look to see what exactly it's categorized as, and it says it's like a slice of life.
Slice of life, yeah.
Yeah, romance film.
So slice of life, you probably will not like most of those animes because that's literally all it is, but no romance. No urgency. It's just living life, bro.
I mean, I guess, and slice of life isn't bad. I think, I guess
Have you watched one?
I went. No, not in an anime sense. I haven't watched a slice of life anime, but
Yeah.
I've seen like you showed me that one little mini documentary from Japan on YouTube.
Oh,
The
well,
series.
yeah.
That's kind of like a slice of life. Like we're seeing. Is that not? Would that be not considered slice of life?
I mean, it's a slice of life, I guess, in like regular, but like not anime. Anime is way different.
Or-
Slice of life.
Okay. So, and that's where I was like, maybe my expectation of what slice of life is different. Because when I think slice of life, I do think it as you're taking, the timeline of life, and you're taking a portion of it out, and you're showing just a portion of that to somebody else, right? Bringing them in.
Yeah.
And so, like that isn't I like that. Like I think that's kind of cool, but maybe in an anime sense, it's not
Cool.
maybe my cup of tea.
Yeah, your cup of tea. Maybe that's not your anime cup of tea. Then, like, we found your cup of tea that's not that you don't like. However, I think Wotakai as a slice of life, but I think it pertains to us a lot. So I think you'll like that once we watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your experience though? Like, I've expressed my opinion. Let me.
But I like listening. I mean, as from what I was able to take in and watch because of my disorientation, I liked it. I wouldn't say is one of my favorite ones, but I don't think I would dog on it as much as you have.
Real quick, I want to throw this out there. Pretty much everything we've watched so far
Mhm.
has had a sort of like constant sense, like Beastar sense of struggle, Psychopath sense of struggle,
Yep.
Akira sense of struggle, Your
Yep.
Name, Weathering with You, Silent Voice. I'm starting to forget some of the ones, but I feel like
Toradora.
all Toradora sense of struggle. Everything has been like this. Um, sense something to overcome,
And
and
then this,
that's
we're
kind
trying to
of
find a record.
so if anything, if maybe I'm spoiled, but also I've been amped up to have this like this is what we're watching, and then
This is anime. This is not anime.
but anyway, I
This is
digress.
Netflix. This is Netflix anime. What are you doing? No, I mean, yes. So the sense of struggle and the sense of finding, I got that actually. I got that sense of like for trying to find the record and trying to find like that because, um, just me thinking about like if my wife was gone and I'm trying to find and like hear her voice again on a record, that would probably consume me. And like so I kind of resonated it with that, like thinking about that way. Um so I guess it didn't lower my opinion of the movie, I guess. Because of that lack of sense of urgency because I found it in that regard of the like trying to find the record. Um, what do you think about it when she broke it though?
I was so angry.
But why
I
though? It was an
because
accident, bro. I felt so bad for her. I felt so bad for her because I know she didn't mean it. And
yeah, of course she didn't mean it. I know it's an accident. But like, okay, so like if I
don't push
was
it down.
like, don't push it down. Like, all right, so you're holding a record and it's wavy, right? But if you've held a record, you
Will it
know that
play?
there's still a. I don't think it'll play well.
Okay.
Um, because the stylus, the needle has to like move through the grooves, and the wave might prevent it from going in the direction it needs to play the sound. So I think it'll still. I think it will still play. I don't think it will play well,
When you said
but
when you holding a record, what'd you say?
it's still firm though. Like even because like when it's wavy, it's because it's been in poor condition and it's moisture. A lot of things can cause it to like warp. You see that in like in tables and like pool cues and things like that can get when they get stored in a poor way, they can get warped a little bit, right? But even a warped record still has a sense of firmness to it. So like if you're pressing it down, I don't see how she would have thought this is flexible. I can it's not Play-Doh, right? You're not going to be reforming it into its
Well, she's probably never seen it, like or not, like actually held a record like that before. Like actually doing all this stuff. So and she's never seen a warped one. So
you just got super distorted coming through.
oh, that's
Your audio.
all right. Um,
Yeah, she's probably never seen a record before. I think we even hear her say like, "Oh, what's this?" I think so. And like I said, you could chalk it up to ignorance. She doesn't know, but I would think that even not knowing what a record is, like I would still, I have the perception that if something shows a little bit of resistance, you stop pushing on it because that means it's likely to break. Right? I don't approach things like force is just the way to handle this. Like no, if it's pushing back, I need to reevaluate. That's how I think about it. And so when she's like, "Oh, it's giving me resistance. I'm just gonna press down on it, and it shatters." Um, I was just super angry. I did feel bad for her. Well, I know I didn't because I was like, I started to feel bad for her when she was trying to glue the record back together, and then I stopped again.
like so it's gonna happen because right and she's not playing it. They're getting speaker cable and she just keeps holding it. I'm like, put that down before you drop it and break it.
Yeah.
And then she didn't drop it, but she actually did, push it and break it. Uh,
But yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking during that scene.
you know what's crazy? I actually saw that clock. That's actually the record. Um, way earlier than when they found it. Did you see
Did
it?
too. Yeah, I
Because when
did,
they
and
turned it around and saw like the fireworks, I was like, oh, that's important.
so I didn't look at it and think of it. I didn't notice it because I thought, oh, that's going to be important. I noticed it because of I thought it looked cool.
Oh,
Right?
the
Like it
clock.
sort of, yeah, like the clock looked cool and it stood out. It's like I didn't. Oh, that's important. I went like, oh, that's an interesting accent piece that they decided to put here, and
Yeah,
I just
that has
kind
a
of
lot of
moved on.
detail for a clock. Yeah, so like when they flipped it around, I was like, okay, I think I've seen that, and I was like, yep, there it is. It's like, can you go grab that? It's right there. Grab the record. Yeah. Overall, though, I I enjoyed the movie. I wouldn't probably watch it again, but I enjoyed it.
Do you feel like 100% Rotten Tomatoes score? Because like I always
No.
Rotten Tomatoes always tends to in my movie going experience, I've always noticed that Rotten Tomatoes scores always tend to be a little bit harsh.
You
At
think
least
so?
in my viewing. So if I were to say if something was a Rotten Tomato score of like 60,
Yeah.
I might think for me it's a 70,
Mm.
right? So I always sort of base Rotten Tomato scores like, okay, for my enjoyment, they're gonna be a little bit harsher than what I'm willing to be okay with. So I always kind of go. So the fact that I saw it was 100% really surprised me
So
because
it's
I
100%
would have
out of
thought,
7 people.
is it out of 7 people?
It says 7 reviews. For the tomato
Oh.
meter, and then the audience scores 50 at 82%. Sorry to interrupt you. What were you saying? You thought what?
So when I saw hundreds, I didn't see how many reviews there were, but when I saw 100, I was like, oh man, it should have been like a banger film for me, because it's so high for them, but it wasn't.
Yeah, so all of these people, like the actual critics, they don't look like they actually watch anime. So like if this is their entry into like the anime like stuff and like movies, probably is a
Mhm.
banger. I'm
I wonder.
curious on some other animes.
And after I watched this, because we were going to your Halloween party, I
Mm, makes
we
sense.
went as Tombo and Kiki,
Yeah.
and I had never seen, like I told you this, I don't remember anything about it, but I'm sure I saw it as a kid. Um, Watched it so I can know who Tombo was. Yeah, and I it was like a palate cleanser because watching this film, and then within a couple hours I was watching Kiki's Delivery Service. And I was like, "Oh, this is so good and so nice." Um, that brings me up to ask you a question that was asked to me or stated to me.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, when you think of Kiki's Delivery Service or Your Name or what's another one, Spirited Away, right? Like
Yeah.
super global rated, highly rated films. Do you think that something can become so popular and so mainstream that it moves outside the anime sort of subculture and becomes its own thing, or do you think it still retains its sense of anime, even though it's super popular and everyone, maybe no one's ever seen any other anime except those three films? Do you
Um
feel it kind
well,
of retains that sort of specialness to it?
like once it becomes so popular.
Yeah.
I guess that goes back to Akira when it first came out, right?
Yeah.
Because because I watched that documentary on Akira. It started in Japan, but got so big and so popular that it came to America and it came like everywhere. Um, but it still holds that anime style and still holds that anime like culture to it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's still an anime movie, so it retained that. I think once it got so big.
Okay.
What do you
Just an
think?
interesting thought, though.
What do you
I
think?
think so. I can definitely see how it can be kind of like I'll kind of put it from the perspective of how I'm spoiled from the stuff we've watched and then
Yep.
watched this. I feel like I can see how when you really like something, you want it to be popular because you want you want as many people to like it as you do, right? Because you want to share that sort of like experience with people and
Yeah.
have someone to talk to about it. And so I can also see that when something becomes super popular, how groups of people will think that's all they've seen, and then they think, "Oh yeah, I like anime," and they've only seen this one thing. Oh, I like anime. What did you watch? Pokemon,
Pokemon.
right? Yeah, or Digimon, or
I mean,
and
you
which
learn
are
you watch Pokemon for a girl, so you can't say much.
I that's why I can't say much.
Go ahead.
But I can see how you're really into something, you start sharing it, and then something becomes really popular, and everyone likes it, and then you're like, oh, what else do you like? And that's sort of like, oh, well, I just stopped there. Like, oh, so you kind of you tipped your toe in the water, you really liked it,
Hmm.
but that it wasn't enough to make you sort of jump in and go swimming. So I can see how that can be very frustrating for someone and go. It sort of leaves the opinion that it leaves that sort of subculture because now it's owned by so many people that aren't taking that next step into the sort of area that you're in. And so you kind of want to retain you want people to like things, but you want to retain the specialness of it. And
oh,
people,
I see what you're getting at. You
what am I
mean,
getting at?
uh, I'm
What am I
sorry.
getting at, Chase?
It's just funny, bro. It's like, well, this other kid in school had this jacket, and I was wearing the same jacket. And he's like, I like your jacket, so I went and put it in my locker. You got to keep that uniqueness, Lance. That's what I'm getting at.
Maybe
It
it's
just
just me.
it just reminded me of that. That was funny. As soon as you said uniqueness, I'm like, jacket. No, but yeah, I totally get that. So like people hopping on the Akira bandwagon and that's all they know of her, like anime. I can see that.
Yeah, it's kind of like in music, right? So like, I would never say that I'm a huge Journey fan, but
Yeah.
I do like a lot of their songs. But there's, and I'm not going to say it here, I don't
What?
want to give it, but there's that one song when you go out to a bar or a club or a restaurant or anything like that, and there's any type of like choose your own music, they always play this one Journey song everywhere you go, right? And it's not a bad song, but there are
Just
so
a
many
small
other.
town girl. No. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
it's not a bad song, but there are so many other really good Journey songs. But this is the one you pick.
That's the only one I
This is
know.
what.
That's the only one I know.
That's the only one you know.
Yeah.
That's probably everyone. There's probably tons of people who are like, "I love Journey," and and the only song they know is the one you keep humming. Shut up,
Why?
because that song, for all its goodness, has been ruined for me because it keeps getting overplayed when I know there are other good Journey songs. And I bet there are people who think I really like Journey, and if you ask them what's your favorite song, they're all going to say that one.
They're all gonna say
Right?
it.
It's like with the Beatles. What's your favorite Beatles album? I legitimately like Abbey Road, but that's what everyone says that they like when they're
Yeah.
like, "What's your favorite Beatles album?" I have listened to other Beatles albums. I just really like Abbey Road. There are probably people who say I like Abbey Road who never listened to another Beatles album.
I don't know the names of the albums, but I know the songs. Some of them.
Yeah, you don't have to. I don't think you have to know everything of a. And I don't want to say like you have to watch every anime to be a true anime fan or listen
Yeah.
to every song, but
That's what we're doing.
I think you have to step beyond. Maybe that's why this was good for me. Watching this film maybe step beyond those bangers. See, it's circular.
Your
I'm coming
comfort zone.
around.
Your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's circular. I love it.
I'm coming right back to this where this is good for me to watch something outside like top 10, 10 out of 10 would watch again content.
I'm surprised you're making me watch Death Note instead of RE0.
Well, I want you to experience some tension working through something that gives you anxiety.
Yep.
But I don't want to give you nightmares.
I don't think they'll give me nightmares.
Didn't you say RE0 was way more intense
It is.
than?
It's way more intense. That's why I stopped watching.
But
there's so much. There's only so much pain I can take, man. Honestly, only so much.
And I thought Death Note would be a nice,
nice entry before RE0.
Nice entry, yeah.
Bro, if you talk about like pain and suffering and like hurdles to overcome, wait until you watch RE0. There's so much.
I'm gonna love it.
There's so much, bro. Oh my goodness.
I'm very excited.
I can't do it. I can't. There's no way.
Yeah, there is a way. I'm good. I'm think of me as your struggle shaman. All right.
I'm fine with Death Note. I'm totally fine with Death Note. I'll watch that. That's no big deal.
RE0. We'll do it together. I'm right there with you. We'll watch it episode at a time. We don't have to do it in a week. You take it we can take our time and we'll work our way up
I'm
to
already
it.
halfway through, so I just don't know.
Any other scenes that you really like from the film?
I like the one where he's saying, "I don't want to forget." I like how as soon as he posts something like his haikus, she likes it, and he like freaks out and like goes to the room, and they're both freaking out. I thought that was adorable.
What about when he told his mom to stop liking his haikus, and she goes like, "Someone needs to like it."
Yeah, I was like, well, that's hurtful. I didn't know this. The theme for dinner was to pick on your son.
But
yeah, I mean, other than that, I think those two scenes. I do like the flashback of seeing of how Fumiya and Sakura are pretty much like the new like the characters, like the young characters.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was interesting.
Yep, because buck teeth, and then he's a shy dude. Had the 70s hair, but whatever.
He was rocking it though. I mean,
can you believe the 70s was 50 years ago now?
I mean, can you believe that, the 20s were 100 years ago from now?
Yeah, and then the I don't know. Like there's still stuff from the 70s, like music and stuff, but 20s is like, nah.
It's I find it very interesting just talking about circular, how like styles and music and culture kind of like comes back into play.
Like how?
The type of like the clothes you wear and the music you listen to and the sort of content you watch and everything, and how it kind of just it starts off being like really niche and then it gets really popular, and then it kind of everyone does it and then it goes away.
Yeah,
and then something new comes around, but that there's still that subset that still kind of do it. And then after a period of several years, it sort of comes back into play.
Yeah, I can see that. When do you think hats are gonna come back in style? Like everybody wear a top hat or like a newsy cap or something like that. You think it's ever gonna come back?
You know what?
There's no.
No. I'm calling it. I think in a few years.
Really?
Well, we actually already had sort of like a real hipster phase. We did. Like I feel like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there was a real sort of like, or maybe it was just a group of people I was hanging out with. But I feel like there was, yeah.
I'm a hipster too. It's okay.
I feel like there was like, it was right around the time when beards were really popular.
Beards?
Yeah. I know you
Well, I can't grow
probably
a
don't
beard.
know this because you
I
can't
hate
grow
you.
one.
I hate you.
But there was a period where I think beards was like about 5-10 years ago. It was kind of right around the height of like Game of Thrones. Beards were really popular,
Mm.
and I think around that same time there was a lot of I feel like there was a lot of hipster culture going around, like with the sort of like the flannels and the newsy caps and like the cool dresses and everything like that. And I feel like that sort of faded away.
Yeah.
But again, I was, hanging out with a different group of people, so maybe I was overexposed to what was going on. But I feel like we've already kind of had that, and I think in a few years it'll come back.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know because I don't think the hats will come back because most of those hats were the same, and that doesn't have like uniqueness to it. If you know what I mean.
Are you trying to call me out again?
Yes.
You say uniqueness.
Yes. How do you know I was calling you out?
Yeah, just a hunch.
Just a hunch. Love it.
Do you think there'll be a time when anime will get so popular that it will kind of like its interest will burn out? Like it'll just reach a
No,
certain.
not at all. There's so much like it's just another form of expression as far as like movies go. So like, movies and TV shows that's been around, a long time, but animation is just another way of doing that where you don't have like you just have voice actors. So, I don't think it's going to burn out. I think it's going to be even more like big and part of like I don't know about our culture, but like in Japan, it's all like anime and like stuff like that now. Like there's a whole like city or like block like dedicated to anime shops and like manga and all that stuff.
I would agree with you. I do think though it will become bigger in our culture. Um,
Think so?
yeah, because like we saw this with I think probably the really first big. It's not anime, but animation film in the U.S. was like Finding Nemo.
Oh yeah, Pixar.
That was
It
huge,
was huge.
right? And like uh, adults, kids, everyone like uniformly loved it.
You
And
wouldn't say the same thing about Toy Story?
I would say the same thing about Toy Story. Yeah, I didn't even think of. I forgot about Toy Story.
That was like the first one I
Um,
remember.
yeah, another really super banger movie. Everyone uniformly loved it, right?
Yep.
And I still need to watch the Toy Story 3 and 4. I hear that they're just really, really good.
They are really
Like
good.
really good.
Four. I like four probably the most out of all the Toy Stories.
But you see, and we with animation, like animated films tend to do, I think, just overall better stories,
Yeah.
um, better expression, right? Um, showcasing. I feel like traditional media.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a reason why so much traditional media is going towards streaming, and you're not seeing like one. I think money. I think money is the corporate aspect of it. There was an interesting interview I watched with Matt Damon on Hot Ones where he talked about that, how the sort of risks that you could take when he first got into the film industry aren't
Who?
there anymore.
Oh.
Matt Damon.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was talking about there are certain risks that like film studios would make that they don't make anymore, right?
Yep. So like that's why I think like animation has
It's a
better
safer
story.
investment.
Yeah.
Better story.
Yeah. Well, because like the traditional media, there's so many hands in the pot, and like the studio or like the board want to change things to make it like better, as far as like ticket sales, but never actually makes it better. It's all like the content is not there. Whereas I don't think they have their hands in animation yet.
Yeah. So I think it will actually get bigger, like in the United States, just because of that. Like the stories just seem to get continually better, and and better told, and like the visual aid of it, I think is really cool and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think traditional media is kind of in its winter of its life, and eventually it'll fade away.
Yeah.
Except for maybe a couple. I think you'll still have blockbuster films.
Yeah, I think so.
That, but I think that's going. Most of it's going to be moving towards like
Streaming.
animation and streaming. Yeah.
I see that. Yeah. Well, I think we're close to that time.
Okay. Nothing else.
No, Death Note, right?
Yeah, we're doing Death Note. You gonna start from the beginning?
I'm gonna have to. I don't. It's been like 4 years since I actually watched it.
Are you excited?
I'm not excited. It'll be fine.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm gonna have to start watching it like today, probably though, to actually like watch it.
24. It's like 24 episodes, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to start watching it today.
Yeah, it's no different than the Toradora series you made me watch.
Of course. If you can do it, I can do it, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll catch you guys next time when we watch when we talk about Death Note.
What time? What time are we gonna meet next week?
I don't think I have anything on Saturday, so 7.
So 7 on Sunday, we'll do it.
Yes, I can do it. I believe in myself. I'll buy a Google smart clock. We'll catch you guys next time at 7 this time for sure when we talk about Death Note.
Bye.